So in part one of this video, we created an account on the IRC portal and we started filling the form for the visitor's visa. And in this part two, we'll complete applying for visitor's visa. If you've not subscribed yet, please subscribe. So to continue, you have to enter every post-secondary school you attended. So start with the most latest, enter the name of the school, select the date you started and the date you ended, or if you're still ongoing, click on ongoing. Choose the level of school, whether it's bachelor's, diploma, whatever it is, master's, whatever it is. Choose the country, under address, enter the street address, and also enter the city or town where the school is located. When you're done with that, click on save. And once you do that, if that's the only school, post-secondary school you've attended, then you could move on to the next question. If not, click on add again and repeat it for every post-secondary school you've attended. Now this question is talking about if you have a military or police history, specifically if you've served in the military or not. So you choose yes or no, and if you choose yes, you have to explain. For the next session, you need to add all your education all your work details for the past 10 years. And so what you see here is that you add the date, a month and year when you started the job, whether it's ongoing or not, and then you add the type of activity, you enter the job title, or you choose the job title, enter the name of the employer, and then briefly describe the duties, the main duties that you do in that job. When you've done that, you also need to enter the address of the employer, which include the country, the street address, and the city or town. And when that is complete, it's time to save that and move on to the next one. If you have any other job that you've done, you also need to enter for the past 10 years all the jobs you've done. Just a quick note, remember there must not be any gap, so you need to enter all the work you've done that covers that gap. If there's a gap, you need to you need to define what that gap was. So when you've done that, add more jobs, and then click on save and continue and move on to the next one. Enter your travel history here. If you have none, click on no. If you have yes, click on yes and enter them. You also need to discuss if you've ever stayed in Canada beyond the validity of your status. This is very crucial information and it will be used to judge whether they will allow you to stay or not. But you need to tell the truth. I can't repeat this enough. You need to tell the truth. I hope you've not overstayed your status by any stretch of the imagination. Whether you attended school in Canada with authorization or work without authorization, you need to indicate those, because they will always find out. And one thing I really want to note here is, if you've done that, you need to explain why you've done that, the reason why you've done that. I'm not saying that automatically you'll be disqualified. I'm just saying that you need to have a good explanation of why you've overstayed your status. And that reason needs to be compelling, and you need to, at that point, you need a professional to help you write it. Because if you overstayed once, it's quite possible you will keep overstaying. So, yeah, if that's the situation, reach out to us and we'll help you craft. We'll take a look at your situation and see, just like talking about the validity of your status, you also need to discuss if you have ever been refused a visa or permit, denied entry to, order to leave any country or territory, whether Canada or not, you need to explain if you've ever been refused a visa, if you've ever been rejected from a country, if you've ever been sent back or deported from a country. Yeah, like just like the previous question, this is a crucial question. You need to answer it honestly because they will find out, especially when you give biometrics. It doesn't automatically disqualify you from coming to Canada, but you at this point, I would say you need a professional to be able to explain it to their satisfaction, right? And so let me know if you're in that situation. I am not an immigration agent by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a professional, but I've had enough interactions. I've studied and researched into how this is done that I can offer you personalized advice. Let me know if you're in this situation, and then I will take it from there. On this screen, we see a crucial part of the Canadian visa application process, the criminality and security section. This section is designed to assess whether the applicant possesses any security risk to Canada, and it plays a significant role in determining whether you are admissible to the country. You will notice 4 questions, each of which requires a mandatory answer. Let's go through them one by one. The first question says, have you ever committed any crime in any country or territory? This includes driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The question asks if you have ever committed a crime anywhere in the world. It specifically includes incidents of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, as these are they are crucial. The crime of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs is a no-no in Canada. The answer options are yes or no. It is essential to be completely truthful here, because if you answer yes, depending on the nature and severity of the crime, you may be considered criminally inadmissible to Canada. This means that your visa application could be denied and you may be barred from entering Canada. The second question is, have you ever been arrested for any criminal offense in any country or territory? This includes driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Now, this question focuses on whether you've been arrested for any criminal offense, including driving under the influence. Even if the arrest did not lead to a conviction, it must be disclosed. Failing to disclose an arrest could lead to severe consequences, including a finding of misrepresentation. And when they find that you misrepresented the fact in your application, it can lead to severe consequences, including being banned from entering Canada for 5 years. Question 3 says, have you ever been charged for any criminal offenses in any country or territory? This includes driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. You see them repeating this same driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs because, like I said, it is, if you ever done this, forget your ambition of coming to Canada, you are automatically inadmissible. But the question here is asking whether you've been formally charged to court with a crime, regardless of the outcome of the case. It could be that the case was withdrawn, it could be that you were not convicted, it could be that you were convicted. A charge indicates that legal proceedings were initiated. Depending on the charge and the legal outcome, this could also lead to inadmissibility to Canada, particularly if the charge is related to serious criminality. The last question here is saying, have you ever been convicted for any criminal offense in any country or territory? This includes driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Finally, this question addresses whether you've been convicted of a crime. A conviction means that you were found guilty of the offense. Canadian Immigration Authority takes convictions very seriously, especially for crimes considered serious under Canadian law. A conviction can lead to criminal inadmissibility, potentially resulting in a denial of your visa application. After you've truthfully answered all the questions, you can click on the Save and Continue button to proceed with your application. It is important to understand that answering these questions honestly is not only required but also crucial for your application. Providing false or misleading information could lead to being banned from entering Canada, even if you would have been otherwise admissible. Additionally, if you are found inadmissible due to a past crime, there may still be ways to address this, such as applying for criminal rehabilitation or a temporary resident permit. Remember, honesty is key when completing this section, as the information provided here will directly impact your eligibility to enter Canada. On this screen, we encounter another critical section in the Canadian visa application process: the criminality and security questions related to association with violent or criminal organizations and participation in human rights abuses. These questions are designed to ensure that individuals who may pose a threat to Canadian society or global security are identified and barred from entering the country. Let's break down each country. Each question: are you or have you been a member or associated with any political party or other group organizations which has engaged in or advanced violence as a means to achieving a political or religious objective, or which has been associated with criminal activity at any time? This question is asking if you've ever been part or linked with any organization that uses violence to achieve political or religious goals, or that has been involved in criminal activities. This includes any association with terrorist organizations, extremist groups, or any group involved in illegal activities. Answering yes to this question will make you inadmissible to Canada because of security concerns. In such cases, your visa application will likely be denied and you may be permanently barred from entering Canada. The second question is: have you ever witnessed or participated in the ill-treatment of prisoners or civilians, looting or desecration of religious buildings? The question addresses whether you've been involved in or have observed serious human rights violations, such as the abuse of prisoners, harm to civilians, looting, or the desecration of places of worship. Canada takes a strong stance on protecting human rights, and any involvement in such activities can lead to inadmissibility. This could mean a permanent ban from entering Canada, depending on the severity of the act and your level of involvement. After answering these questions truthfully, you can click on the Save and Continue button to proceed with your application. It is important to understand that these questions are not just formalities, they are vital for determining whether you pose a security risk or have been involved in serious criminal activities. If you answered yes to any of these questions, it doesn't automatically mean that your application will be denied, but it does mean that additional scrutiny will be applied. You may need to provide further information or documentation, and you might be asked to justify your eligibility to enter Canada. Failing to disclose any relevant information or providing false information could result in severe consequences, including being banned from entering Canada for misrepresentation, which can last for up to 5 years, or even a permanent ban in some cases. Remember, honesty is critical when answering this security question, as your responses will directly impact your eligibility to enter Canada. On this screen, we see the medical background question section of the Canadian visa application process. This session is critical because it helps the Canadian government assess whether you have any medical conditions that might pose a risk to public health safety or place excessive demand on Canada's health and social services. Let's take a closer look at the question. Have you had a medical exam performed by an ROCC authorized panel physician or doctor within the last 12 months? This question asks whether you've undergone medical examination conducted by a doctor who is authorized by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada within the past year. If you answered yes, you may be required to provide details about the exam, including date and name of the physician who conducted it. This information will help the Canadian authorities determine if your recent medical exam meets the requirement for your visa application. If you answer no, it indicates that you have not had any medical examination within the past 12 months. Depending on the type of visa, since we are applying for a visitor's visa, you'll be required to undergo medical examination before your visa can be approved. On this screen, we see the medical background questions related to tuberculosis, which is a key concern for public health. There are two questions here. In the last 2 years, were you diagnosed with tuberculosis? Tuberculosis or TB is a serious lung disease. If you answer yes, it doesn't automatically mean you can enter Canada. However, you will need to complete your treatment before you are allowed in. Also, the second question says, in the last 5 years, have you been in close contact with a person with tuberculosis? If you've been exposed to TB, you must disclose this. Again, this doesn't necessarily bar you from entering Canada, but it may require further medical check. These questions are vital for ensuring public health safety in Canada. After answering truthfully, click save and continue to proceed. On this screen, we have additional medical background questions that help Canada assess any serious health concerns that could impact public health or safety. The questions are you currently receiving dialysis treatment? Dialysis treatment is very expensive and it's a treatment for kidney failure. If you answer yes, this could affect your application depending on the healthcare needs. If you have a drug or alcohol addiction that is causing you to be a threat to yourself or others, or to be hospitalized, it can lead to dangerous behavior, and it's crucial to disclose this here. Have you had a mental health condition causing you to be a threat to yourself or others, or to be hospitalized? This question focuses on mental health issues that have required serious medical attention or caused harm to yourself or others. Have you ever been diagnosed with syphilis? Syphilis is treatable and it's a bacterial infection. And if you've had it, you can still come to Canada once you've completed treatment. Like we've been saying, answer these questions honestly, as they are vital for assessing your health status. After completing them, click save and continue to move forward with the application. So this screen asks about your current marital status, requiring you to select from options like married, divorced, or single. You must also provide the date of your marriage or the start of your common law relationship. Additionally, you need to fill in the full name and date of birth of your spouse or your common law partner. Accurate information is essential, as this data will be used to verify your marital status in your visa application. The next screen asks if you have any biological, adopted, or stepchildren, requiring you to select either yes or no. If you select yes, you must click add to enter information about each child, including all sons and daughters, regardless of their age or where they live. This information is important for the application process, and you should ensure all details are accurately entered before proceeding. So if you answer yes to have children, this screen allows you to add additional details for each child. You must provide the child's surname or last name, and optionally their given name or first name. You are also required to enter the child's date of birth, relationship to you, such as biological or adopted, and the country and territory of their birth. If the child is deceased, there's a checkbox to indicate that. Once all the required fields are filled in, you can save the entry and proceed to add more children if necessary. This screen asks for details about your parents, including legal parents if you were adopted. You need to add information about each parent by clicking the add button. If you don't know who your parents are, there's an option to check a box indicating that. Providing accurate parental information is required, as it helps verify your family background. After entering all necessary details, you can continue with the application by clicking save and continue. When adding a parent, this screen requires you to provide detailed information. You must enter the parent's surname, that's the last name, and optionally their given name or their first name. You also need to specify the relationship, such as mother or father, the parent's date of birth, and their country or territory of birth. If the parent is deceased, there's a checkbox to indicate that. When adding information for a deceased parent, this screen requires you to provide details such as name, relationship, e.g. mother or father, and date of birth. You must also indicate that the parent is deceased by checking the appropriate box, after which you will need to enter the date of death. Additionally, you need to specify the country or territory of their birth. Ensure all the information is accurate before saving. This screen focuses on the language preferences of the applicant. You are required to select a native language or mother tongue from a drop-down menu. Additionally, you need to indicate whether you can communicate in English or in French, or neither. Lastly, you must choose the language English or French that you prefer the Canadian authorities to use when contacting you. These sessions help ensure clear communication throughout your application process. The screen, in the drop-down screen, you are also asked to select your native language or mother tongue from a drop-down menu, which includes a wide range of options. For example, if you speak a Nigerian language, you can select languages like Igbo, Agbo, Edo, or Eastern. After selecting your native language, you also need to indicate whether you can communicate in English, as we have said. The next screen is where you provide your email address, which is a crucial point of contact for your visa application. You need to enter your email address in specified format and then confirm it by typing it again in the second field. Note that you cannot copy and paste your email. It must be typed out twice to ensure accuracy. This step ensures that Canadian authorities can reach you with important updates and information regarding your application. After entering and confirming your email, click Save and continue to proceed. This screen asks you to provide your telephone number, which is required for your application. You can add your phone number by clicking the Add button, ensuring that Canadian authorities have an alternative way to contact you if necessary. Providing a correct and reachable number is essential for receiving important updates regarding your visa application. After adding your phone number, you can proceed by clicking Save and continue. So we are close to the end, and this screen provides you a summary of the information you've entered in your application and instructions on how to review and correct any answer. If you need to make changes, you can click the edit icon next to each section to update your responses. Keep in mind that if you change an answer, you may need to re-answer related questions, which will appear as empty fields that must be completed before you proceed. After reviewing and making any necessary corrections, you can click the next button at the bottom of each session to return to the summary screen and continue with your application. This section of the application is where you finally upload the necessary supporting document. Each document must adhere to specific file size and format requirements with a limit of 2 megabits per file. Accepted formats include .tif, JPEG, PNG, DOC, DOCX, and PDF. If your file exceeds 2 megabytes, you may need to reduce the size or split the content into multiple files. Supporting documents include passports or travel documents. You need to upload a scan of your passport or travel document, which is crucial for verifying your identity and nationality. Click on Add File, select the file you need to upload, and that will upload the document. You also need to upload a digital photo of the applicant, which is a recent passport size photograph that meets the Canadian visa photo requirements. Then, for proof of funds, this document is particularly important as it demonstrates that you have enough financial resources to support yourself and any dependent during your stay in Canada. Let's take a closer look at what is required for proof of funds. If you are not receiving financial support from someone else during your stay in Canada, you need to prove that you can support yourself by providing one or more of the following documents. You can provide bank statement for the past 4 months. This bank statement should show that you have enough money to cover your stay in Canada. You can provide a certified check, bank draft, or money order. This reflects that you have sufficient amount to cover your expenses in Canada. You can get written statements from financial institutions that a processing officer can verify. If you be financially supported by someone else, such as a relative or a sponsor in Canada, you need to provide a letter or statement from the person providing you with financial support. This should include the amount of money they will provide and proof of their financial capacity, such as bank statements. The bank statement should show funds available for your support, proof of a Canadian bank account in their name where the money has been transferred, proof of payment for your tuition and accommodation if you are a student, and scholarship or funding proof from within Canada if applicable. Additionally, you need to provide evidence of your relationship with the person offering financial support, such as marriage certificates, birth certificates, or other legal documents. In the proof of funds section, one important aspect to consider is if you are applying for a visitor's visa and someone in Canada has sent you an invitation letter. In such cases, it is likely that the person inviting you will need to include an undertaking in their letter. This undertaking should clearly state that they will be financially responsible for you during your stay in Canada, covering your living expenses and, importantly, any potential hospital or medical bill. This means that your host is taking on the responsibility to ensure you do not become a financial burden on the Canadian healthcare system or government. The invitation letter should also be accompanied by evidence of their financial abilities to support you, such as recent bank statement, proof of income, or evidence of savings. This additional documentation strengthens your application by demonstrating that you have reliable financial support during your visit. Including these details is crucial. It assures the Canadian authorities that you'll be taken care of financially, which significantly increases the chance of your visitor's visa being approved. There are some other optional documents that you don't need to upload, but if you want your document to be shared with any other person representing you, you will need to upload a representative form. But in this instance, since you are applying by yourself, then you definitely don't need to upload any of those optional documents. Click on Save and Continue, and this should take you to where you need to declare your consent and declaration. It's just asking if you consent to be contacted by CIC or any other organization at CIC request. CIC is Citizenship and Immigration Canada and Canada Border Services. Click yes, then enter your surname or your last name, and then your given name and your first name. Make sure you read all this because they are contractually obligated. Read the personal privacy notice because that would decide how your document is handled. Then click on Save and Continue. This will finally take you to the fees page. Like we've discussed before, the fees for visitors visa is just $100 Canadian, and then it takes you to where you need to enter either a credit card or a debit card. And once you've done that and you click on checkout, it should debit the money from your account and show you success message where it will show that you successfully paid, and then you should receive some email in your email address confirming that you submitted your visa application. In some countries, there are some countries like Nigeria that is very difficult to pay dollar fees using your Naira card. Let us know if you need to pay for school fees or anything in dollar and it's becoming difficult for you. We'll help you handle that. We have a new service that we're creating to help you pay for international school fees or anything that you need to pay in Canada, in US, in England, Australia. We'll help you pay those. You send, there's a procedure for that where you pay in Naira and then we automatically help you pay in dollars. So congratulations, that is the end. Hopefully you get invitation. The next step is definitely to get letter from Canadian government to come and go do your biometrics and do your medicals, and hopefully you get approved. Remember, it is not guaranteed. This is just for education purpose. This is to teach you how to apply. I'm not an agent, but if you don't need my help or need the help of my spouse or need the help of my company, let me know and I will personally guide you through and make sure you collect the right documents, complete the documents. That will increase your likelihood of being approved. If this video has been meaningful to you, please subscribe, like this video, add a comment, share it with your friends. It is quite possible to come to Canada legally and make Canada your life. A starting point of that is possibly the visitor's visa. In our next episode, we'll be discussing how you can get a job in Canada or how you can convert a visitor visa to a permanent stay in Canada. So, if this has benefited you in any way, like I said, subscribe, like this video, comment on it, share with your friends. Let me know what next you're interested in hearing about. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time.